All right, once again, it's been a very long time since I made a video. But I've got possibly a new project for this car, unfortunately. I'm contemplating doing something to this car that I never in a million years thought I would do, but at this point I have no choice, and hopefully the change will be temporary. I've been having a problem with, when I got this car, I had the throttle shafts bushed because I had a lot of play in them. I couldn't keep the throttle bodies in balance, etc. And so, I mean, I've driven the car. That was like 3 years ago I did that. And I've noticed in the last couple of months, my throttle bodies will not stay in balance. So I started looking, and I've got a lot of play in, especially the master throttle body. A lot of play. There's some play here. There's also play in this joint right here. There's roughly like 10-12 thousandths, which isn't as important as the play in these throttle shafts, because this is constantly loaded against this linkage here. So, I mean, it's constantly pressing on it. It shouldn't really matter that much. So last weekend I pulled the throttle bodies apart, pulled the butterflies off, pulled the shafts out, and when the carburetor shop put new bushings in there, they put bushings in. I mean, these are standard 3/8 throttle shafts, just like a quadrajet. When they put the new bushings in there, instead of using a standard, oil impregnated brass bushing, they put these big oversized, you can't see them with all the linkage on there and everything, because there's a big spring behind it and stuff, but they put the outside diameter of the bushing is almost a 1/2 inch in diameter. So a 1/2 inch to 3/8 is quite a bit, because I was just going to rebush the throttle bodies again. I was going to replace the bushings since they've already been drilled and just put some new bushings in there. So that's not an option. I've rebalanced the throttle bodies probably 6 times over the last, I would say, month. And with the water manometer on there, you balance them to 6 inches, and then I balance them against each other and zero them out. As soon as you blip the gas, they come out again. One will be pulling 1 inch of water, the other one will be pulling 9 inches of water. They will not stay in balance. So unfortunately, since I do drive this car almost every day, I was contemplating doing like a tune port swap and stuff like that, but I mean, I'm not going to change all the fuel lines, the front to rear fuel lines that run to the tank and stuff like that. So I remembered, in storage, I have a complete single throttle body set up off of a 90 Firebird. I've got the throttle body, I've got everything with it, so I'm really seriously contemplating pulling this off. And I mean, I've got a stash of 3rd gen parts, so I've got the correct throttle cable, I've got the correct throttle valve cable for the 700R4. I have, the wiring it doesn't have to be changed, because like I said, you've got your injector wiring here. And keep in mind, I have the 8746 ECM, which is what that single throttle body manifold was basically designed for, that and the 7747. The only difference being is, obviously, the Crossfire has 2 idle air control stepper motors. The single 2-barrel throttle body only has 1. Since these are wired in parallel, this one does what this one does. They work, it's like, theoretically they work the same. But it's unfortunate. But like I said, I drive the car way too much to deal with that. It's annoying. It'll run fine for miles and miles and miles, and you'll stop at a red light and the car will start shaking and when it does that, it's got a real big flat spot when you're taking off, and you pretty much have to blip the gas a couple of times for it to kind of fall back into where it's somewhat in the neighborhood of where it's supposed to be. But like I said, I've got this single throttle body, which is the same as a truck. I think what 87 to like 90, 94 truck, 95 truck, same manifold. I mean, it's in like perfect condition. There's no corrosion or anything like that on it. I've got, you know, all the necessary brackets. The upper alternator bracket is different from a Crossfire to a throttle body or carbureted manifold, but I have all that stuff. And like I said, it'll be a couple hour swap. You know, and I also too, looking in my stash of parts, found a 7747 ECM that I had stashed away with the wiring. This is an ARJT Prom, which is out of a, I want to say a 90-91 Chevy truck with a 350. I know most of the Crossfires running around, and most of the viewers on the channel, they're Corvette owners, 82 and 84 Corvette. So if anybody's interested, definitely drop me a line, you know, shoot me a comment, something like that. I can give you my email address if you're interested in this thing. But like I said, I have no use for it. I've sold off all my extra ECMs. I didn't even know I had this thing. It did come out of a driving truck that I was keeping, because years back I was going to do a throttle body conversion on an 86 Trans Am that I had with a Quadrajet. So what I was going to do is take the 7747, put a 305 Prom in it, and, you know, just throw it in there. So like I said, it's a perfectly good working 350 throttle body ECM, and like I said, it's got all the wiring. If anybody's interested in it, definitely let me know, because I can, you know, if somebody wants to buy it from me, I will go ahead and include all of the wiring diagrams that I used when I swapped this car over to an 8746. So, I mean, it would basically be, you know, the same simple thing that I did to this, wire by wire. You just cut, solder, match them up accordingly. And like I said, I don't have 3 hours into this ECM swap in this car. You know, the only difference that the only thing I'm gonna have to address is the fuel line. This is the supply line. And on the single throttle body, they're in the back of the throttle body. So you got your inlet on the driver's side, outlet back to their tank on the passenger side in the back. So it's just a matter of making, I mean, I have the throttle body fuel line, so it's just a matter of doing a little bending, extending, whatever, and, you know, that'll be no problem. Basically, like I said, it's about a 2-hour swap to swap everything over, you know, and I'll be back up and running. You know, but like I said, definitely it's unfortunate that, I mean, this car is going to be turning 40 years old in March, according to the build date. And it's unfortunate that I can't do anything with this. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my eyes, and, you know, obviously I'm not getting rid of the Crossfire stuff. I'm going to store it. You know, so if I ever sell the car, the Crossfire stuff can either go back on it or go with it in the trunk. The new owner can do what they want. Or in the meantime, I'm going to keep my eyes open for another pair of Model 400 Rochester throttle bodies. They're, you know, found on Fieros, on the Iron Dukes, and, you know, but I'm not going to pay eBay prices for a complete Crossfire intake manifold when I just need the throttle bodies. You know, I am not spending, you know, $300-400. I mean, even at swap meets, you see them and they're a couple $100, you know, and these people cart them around year after year after year because they're set on the price. You know, even though nobody wants them, they're not popular. So like I said, I'll keep my eyes open for that. You know, but like I said, other than that, that's the next project. I'll probably start pulling it apart here within a week or so. And, you know, the only unfortunate thing is on these 82 to 84s, you've got the factory air induction on the Crossfire cars, and on the 83 and 84 carbureted cars, both the standard LG4 305 and the L69HO, they had a functional air induction unit on the hood. I'll track that down. I mean, they're not super rare or super expensive, so that'll, you know, in the meantime, I'll just have to run an open element air cleaner You know, but I'm not going to let the car sit because of that. You know, it's an easy enough swap. I'll throw that on there and I'll be back up and running the same day. You know, and it'll probably, you know, looking at the, even though this base is ported on this thing, just looking at the overall internal dimensions of the runners between this single throttle body manifold and the Crossfire, even after porting, I mean, it's hard to see, but I mean, they're, in comparison, they're, you know, they're huge. They're the size of a standard small block Chevy intake manifold. So it should wake it up. The only thing I am waiting on, like I said, I do have the throttle body. The only thing I am waiting on is I ordered a set of factory 305 injectors for like a 90-91 Camaro Firebird. So once that's there, I'll be able to put the throttle body back together with brand new injectors, and you know, the thing should run like a top. So like I said, and going back, you know, I don't, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram. You know, I mean, I am on Instagram. I just follow a couple pages and stuff like that. So I'm not really active on it. But as far as the 7747 ECM, once again, there it is, with the wiring. It is in working condition, had no problems with it. I completely forgot that I had it. I wish I had known that I had it before I bought the 8746, but that's neither here nor there. They both do the same thing. Once again, the 8746, the only real difference in it is, where is it? The intake air temperature sensor. So that's, I mean, you know, it's an easy swap for somebody with an 82 or 84 Corvette, or somebody with an 82 or 83 Camaro Z28 or Trans Am that's running a 350 in it and wants to keep the Crossfire. So like I said, if you guys got any interest in it, you know, leave it in the comments and I'll give you my email address. And, you know, like I said, we can go over price and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, if I can get $100 out of it, as it sits with the plugs, I'll be happy. You know, so like I said, let me know, and I'll keep you guys updated on the progress and you know, the end result of this this single throttle body swap. All right, catch you later.